Mr. Lammy, let me ask you questions about your bill because he won't know, will he? He's an
He,
idiot.
wo- he won't have a clue. He never answers the question I put to him. In fact, he looks absolutely horrified when I get on my feet, so I'll be looking forward to that today.
Tension erupts in Parliament as Sarah Pochin challenges David Lammy over leadership. You're not going to believe what just happened inside Parliament today. What started as a calm debate turned into one of the most heated exchanges we've seen in months. David Lammy, the Labour frontbencher known for his strong words, found himself face-to-face with a challenge he clearly didn't see coming. And it came from none other than Sarah Pochin, the independent MP who's been gaining quiet respect for saying what others won't. By the time she was done, the entire chamber was buzzing. Lammy tried to respond, but the tension you could feel it through the air. Even Keir Starmer looked uneasy. Let's break down exactly what happened. During a debate on accountability and leadership within government, Sarah Pochin stood up and delivered what some are calling the most direct parliamentary statement of the year. Without raising her voice, she asked one simple but powerful question. When the public looks at us, do they see leaders, or do they see a political class that's forgotten who it serves? You could hear a pin drop. Then she turned directly toward David Lammy, challenging him on recent statements he made about trust in politics. She reminded the chamber that trust isn't rebuilt with speeches, it's rebuilt with honesty, consistency, and connection to the people outside Westminster. And that is when everything changed. Lammy, clearly taken aback, tried to defend his position, saying that Labour was working tirelessly to restore faith in leadership and that unity, not criticism, was what the country needed. But Pochin didn't back down. She interrupted, saying, "Unity means nothing if it's built on silence. We cannot stay quiet when the public feels betrayed." That line, that exact moment, is what's now flooding social media. Clips from the exchange have already hit 1 million views in under 24 hours. Hashtags like hashtag Pochin vs Lammy and hashtag Parliament tension are trending across the UK. Now, here's what makes this moment different from your average political scuffle. Sarah Pochin didn't attack personalities, she went after principles. She spoke about what millions across the country have been feeling: frustration with empty promises, growing disconnection from leadership, and the widening gap between political words and everyday reality. And to her credit, she stayed composed. Calm, deliberate, confident. But the look on Lammy's face said everything: frustration, disbelief, even a flash of defensiveness. For a politician who's used to commanding the room, it was a rare moment of being caught off balance. Political analysts are already weighing in. One commentator told The Guardian, "This wasn't a meltdown, it was a moment of reckoning." Pochin said what many MPs have been too afraid to voice. Another added, "Lammy's response will define how Labour handles internal criticism going forward. If they dismiss her concerns, they risk looking out of touch." And that's exactly the point. This wasn't about one exchange. It's about what that exchange represents. Because whether it's inflation, immigration, or public services, people are angry. They feel unheard. And when someone inside Parliament finally says it out loud, it hits different. Public reaction has been intense. One viral post read, "Sarah Pochin just said everything voters have been screaming for years. Respect." Another said, "Lammy didn't deserve that. He's one of the few who actually cares." And then there were thousands of others, landing somewhere in the middle, people saying that what happened today wasn't about sides, but about truth. One user summed it up perfectly. "This isn't left versus right anymore. It's real versus rehearsed." And that's where the deeper story lies. For months, Parliament has been boiling under the surface. Whispers of frustration, quiet divisions, and growing unease within Labour's own ranks, especially over how to handle public anger toward the government's mixed responses on everything from border policy to the cost of living crisis. Starmer's team has tried to project calm leadership, but moments like today make one thing clear: calm doesn't always mean confidence. Because when a single MP's question can shake the tone of the entire chamber, it shows how fragile that image really is. Inside sources told Sky News that several MPs were seen exchanging nervous looks after the confrontation. One reportedly said, "If this kind of honesty keeps showing up in Parliament, we'll all have to start answering real questions again." Even opposition figures, often divided, seemed quietly impressed. One Conservative MP was overheard saying, "That woman's got courage, she just said what half of us wish we could say." But here's the most interesting part. After the session ended, Lammy reportedly left without speaking to journalists, a rare move for someone usually eager to frame the narrative. Meanwhile, Sarah Pochin was approached by several outlets but declined interviews, saying only, "The work speaks for itself. The public will decide what they think." And that left an even bigger impression. Because in a world where everyone's fighting for soundbites, Pochin's silence afterward might have said more than her speech itself. So, what happens now? Will this moment push Parliament toward more open debate, or will party loyalty shut it down? Will Starmer publicly back Lammy, or will he call for a reset in tone within his party? Either way, the spark has been lit. And this could very well become one of those moments we look back on, the point where frustration turned into confrontation, and confrontation turned into change. As one journalist wrote tonight, Parliament didn't just witness tension today. It witnessed truth, the kind that's been missing for far too long. And the question now is simple. If one MP can cause this much reflection with just a few words, what happens when more start speaking out? Because that's the real story. The truth isn't just being heard in Parliament anymore. It's echoing beyond it. What happens next may be the real turning point, not because of anger or confrontation, but because honesty finally broke through the noise.